everyone, how's it going? Matthew Bailey Media here, and welcome to another TV show review. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because the last one I believe I did TV show-wise was for the live-action One Piece, and I gotta say, that show was really good to me. Now, this next show I'm going to be reviewing, you may find surprising because I managed to watch a lot of the episodes from the original version of this show before they took most of the episodes off of Netflix, which I'm not sure why they did that, but this is my review on the 2023 version of the show based off the iconic book series Goosebumps. Yep, this is the 10-episode 2023 Disney Plus version of Goosebumps. Now, this is just the first season. I'm not sure if they're going to continue because they do leave it off on a cliffhanger even in the last episode. But Goosebumps to me is, I gotta say, this show was pretty interesting that they sort of started out as a story of a story with some of these main kids' parents who apparently did something really horrible to another kid 30 years ago from this timeline, and then they end up and then however, it seems like by the end of episode 8, it seems like that whole storyline with the character of Harold Biddle, I think was his name, who was the ghost kid who got killed by these main kids' parents. Apparently that story just completely goes off the rails after episode 8, where they don't even focus on that, and it seems like there was a much bigger picture at hand in the 9th and 10th episodes, which are Night of the Living Dummy Part 2, and it's funny because there's even an episode, the last episode is literally called One Day at Horrorland. Now, we don't actually see the Horrorland creatures in the episode, slight spoiler for that, but the way they explained Horrorland, when they say Horrorland, it's not necessarily the park from the book, but it's a park that where they could actually release a ton of monsters or whatever that are like the monsters from the Horrorland movie, and not just them, but other iconic characters from Goosebumps. Now, it's funny because the only real monsters that are featured within this first season of Goosebumps is the Say Cheese and Die book with the haunted camera. The Haunted Mask is featured, the Cuckoo Clock of Doom, and Go Eat Worms, as well as Night of the Living Dummies specifically. Those are like the 6 main actual things that are name dropped in the titles and are featured in their current episodes. Now, a few other things that there was one other character that was actually featured in this in the 9th episode that was not referenced in anything, but it's sort of a callback to the 2015 Goosebumps movie with one specific monster, that being a white poodle that had like red eyes and sharp fangs like a vampire. That was brought back in this show, which I thought was interesting. So that's really 7 main monsters or items that were featured in this show. But out of those 7, only that barking ghost, or the poodle dog and the dummy, and also the worms, they're the only things that are like actual living things. Whereas the Haunted Mask, the Cuckoo Clock, the camera, and actually, I don't know what I'm missing from this, but all I do know is that this show was not as bad as I know a lot of people were thinking it was going to be, because it was made by Disney, and I know a lot of people were not too excited about that. But again, with what they did with another show that I don't think I did review, but I kind of liked how they turned it into a little Disney Plus show, was the Santa Clauses back in November to December of 2022. And they're already in the middle of releasing season 2 of that show, which is interesting. But with this show, I really do like the route they were taking, where not every episode was going to be actually just a retelling of the show from the 90s, where every episode would be based off of a book. Now, again, they did do that with some of these books. Like, they did that with the first 4 episodes, but I think after the 5th episode, except for the Night of the Living Dummy Part 1 episode, most of the other episodes, especially ones like You Can't Scare Me, Night of the Living Dummy Part 2, and One Day at Horrorland, it's funny because those are the last 3 episodes of the show. Those had titles, but they weren't, especially One Day at Horrorland and You Can't Scare Me, didn't feature the characters that were based off from the books at all. But I still thought it was an interesting route that they tried to go on. So, again, I thought the show was okay. I mean, I will say I kind of do prefer it over some of the episodes from the original 90s show, but I hope that eventually, if they decide to do another reboot of this show, or of this IP, whether it's in movie form or... Because this is technically like the 3rd adaptation of Goosebumps in general. Like, they had the original 90s show, they had the 2 movies that came out in 2015 and 2018, then we had this show, which is interesting, but I'm curious if they're actually going to go back to the original concept that they did for the first adaptation and try to adapt every book into an episode or so. But if I'm being totally honest, it seems like they really should try to do what they did with this show and make the episodes incredibly long. I think in the original show, most of the episodes weren't even that long. They were like 30 minutes, but some episodes deserve to be over an hour long when you think about it, and it is in one solid episode. I didn't really like how they split certain episodes in the 90s into 2 parts. They really should have just did that where each episode is based off of one actual story. So who knows, if they decide to do a 4th adaptation where they kind of go back to the basics of the original 90s show, but this time try to make the episodes longer and do every single episode or every single book from the original show. Like, to me, that's what they should do. If they decide to do another reboot, they really should try to do the 62 books first. Don't try to do any adaptations of books from sequel series. I would just do every episode based off of a book from the original 62 books and see how well that holds up. Because there are some books that they did not adapt that I really want to see adapted into episodes, like The Horror Camp Jelly Jam, Beware the Snowman, Egg Monsters from Mars. These are 3 books that I really do want to see get adapted. But anyways, let me give you my rating of the show. So, for my rating of the show, I gotta say, I feel like it's not as bad as I know a lot of people were afraid it would be, but I feel like if they do decide to do a season 2 to this, I hope they sort of kick it up a notch, and I really want to see them adapt a lot of these episodes from some of the books, just like they did with the first 4 episodes, where each episode featured the creatures or objects from their respective books. And I want to see them do that again in season 2, if they decide to do it. There are rumors that they already canceled it after 1 season, but after that cliffhanger ending, you never know what they can decide to do. But I'm going to give the Goosebumps show a solid 4 out of 5. And that may come as a surprise, but I still thought it was good enough, even if there was like certain aspects of the show, like one specific character was revealed to be a gay guy, and I don't know why they did that, but again, thankfully it didn't take too much focus on that. It still tried to tell a compelling, overarching story and did not even really reference that whole part about that one character being gay as much, and I love that. So, anyways, that's all for now in this TV show review, and as always, I will see all of you guys in the next video.